Star of wonder, star of light, star of royal beauty, bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. Okay, so today we've got a very special Sunday reading. And in this reading, we discuss the players that are coming into the situation for you over the next few days or week, if this reading applies to you. The first message here is the only way for things to work is you're going to have to be ethically and morally sound. There are rules that we have to abide by. A long time ago, I was really upset. I thought, why I struggled so hard to go to law school. Why couldn't I go to law school? And I was very bitter about it. And I came home and my younger dog had grabbed my Bible and chewed some of the pages but left it open at a certain section. And in this section, the passage that she had stuck her teeth in literally said, man-made laws are not my laws. And that really struck home for me because I was really bitter about not being able to go to law school and all the great things that I fought for and could have accomplished. And that was my sole purpose to move forward in my life. And this is what I come home to. Man-made laws are not my laws. It was something along those lines. And then we get this reading here that leads with the 10 Commandments, justice. And I know that I'm going to lose a lot of you on this because remember, religion is supposed to be oppressive, but we can't control how mankind has utilized text from the Bible. And you have to remember that within the Old and New Testament, they had their own prophets. Well, we'll focus on the Old Testament. They had their own prophets, and they got their own messages from the divine. So don't negate the messages from the divine in that biblical text because you're bitter over oppression. What men have done is not consistent with what the intention was and is to this day. So right now in many of your lives, you're being instructed to play by the rules. You really got to stick to the rules here because you will be challenged along the way of your life to deviate from the rules, to break rules, to exercise a policy of a means justifies the ends. And I'm not one to talk here. I'm not the most ethical person when it comes to survival. Because we get tested. We really do get tested. And it's either eat or starve at some points. It's feast or famine. And sometimes we're forced to break certain rules. But again, man-made rules are not God's rules. Okay? So try to practice an ethic of do no harm in your life. Do no harm. So this is the past. This is setting the foundation. Follow the rules. And I'm assuming those are fundamental rules. Don't mess around with married people. Do no harm. Approach issues with good intent. Don't steal. Don't murder. Don't kill. And then we have the Page of Feathers. Esther saves the Jews. And in this situation, this card is closely associated with the Page of Swords. It's about communication. This is about messages. This is about aggression, bravery. This is about facing issues that are undesirable, coming up with strategic methods to problem solve, delivering strategic and calculating messages. The swords usually have to do with military, so you're going to be dealing with some type of hostility, some type of negative energy coming at you, in which you must deliver messages to diffuse. You want to diffuse situations in your life right now. You want to remain ethical and moralistic. Practice a policy of doing no harm and delivering messages of calculation and strategy in order to achieve that objective. In this story, Esther delivers a very powerful message in order to save herself and the Jews from a very bitter and devious individual named Haman. And she's successful. She uses the power of her messages and her verbal word to communicate communicate in a manner to save people. And she does this in order to establish no harm and to protect others, to do right, to do good, not bad. The underlying currents of this reading is suggesting that there is a project going on. There is a greater picture at work. And you see that with the star here. There is a big picture, and God works in big picture terms, not the short term. He's always got the long term angle that we just don't understand when we're suffering. And right now, something very interesting that requires collaboration of your peers, yourself, your community, your friends, your family, your co-workers, etc., that requires something to be built, something to be created. So in this story, we have the building of Solomon's temple, which becomes a focal place of worship for God. And that's not saying that you're going to be building a temple for God, but what you are working on is something that has a serious and big impact for your future. And this is happening behind the scenes while you're dealing with conflict, controversy, and very strange attacks against your character and the things that you cherish and believe in. There's an underlying plan that's going on behind the scenes that you may not see because it's part of the big picture of your life. And while you are dealing with and struggling against people, negative people that come against you, you're being told to stay true to your morals and your ethics and to use your power of your tongue in order to defend yourself. See, it's funny because we have here the underlying currents of building Solomon's temple, and then the last card in this reading is the Emperor, which represents King Solomon. Building of Solomon's temple, King Solomon ends the reading. King Solomon was known for being a peaceful man, a diplomatic man, an entrepreneur, somebody who enriched the economy, but everybody went to him for his wisdom. So your job is to utilize your wisdom and your strategy in order to protect yourself against negative people who aim to destroy you while staying true to the rules. This is your job. Now, many of you are going through a period of evolution and again feeling attacked, feeling plotted against. Here you have Joseph and his just jealous brothers in the Five of Candles or Five of Wands. They were very, very jealous of Joseph. He was the favorite son. He was given this beautiful rainbow jacket. They tore it to shreds and then they sold him into slavery. But he eventually aspired to be the great leader that he was supposed to be. And the thing about this is that people are going to come against you. People are going to take you down. People are going to seem as if they're getting the better hand. Joseph was somewhat of a prophet. He had foresight into his future. And they didn't like that. They felt threatened by his power. They felt threatened that he was favored. They felt threatened by who he was as a person. And he suffered greatly as a result of this. So this could be suggesting that many of you will be suffering in your lives, and you're lacking the understanding as to why. You can't see the bigger picture. Just like behind the scenes, you've got the collaboration. These people are building a very large and important temple for God. Here in the star, you have people traveling. There is hope. There is feelings that there is something new coming into the forefront of the people's lives that will give them guidance and leadership and connect them to the divine, to something greater than themselves. And in this case, the three wise men or the three kings, they were going to witness the birth of Jesus, which was God's manifestation on earth. So something really powerful and great is coming. There is an undercurrent here of collaboration and people working together, but you must get past the people in your life that are gunning against you because you are promised great things, but you must learn something. You must learn temperament. See, King David wanted to build Solomon's temple, but Solomon was David's son, I believe. King David wanted to be that person, but instead he was given a different task. Lead with compassion. Somebody on the way is coming into your life to help and make